Okay, good morning, everyone, and whenever you're watching the replay, hello to day number 5 of the magical May 5th, 2020 Wondercruise. Last but not least day is actually a huge ended with a bang day, an icebreaker day. I have Dr. Elizabeth Hughes here for us and with us, and it will be a paradigm shifting day of magic. She has a background in medicine, Stanford graduate, practiced medicine for 25 years, and did things the traditional Western medicine way. And at some point she had, I'm giving a quick summary to introduce you so give people have a glimpse if they have not met you. At some point she had a full stop, a kind of a breakdown for herself in many life areas for medically and with health and also for her clients, and realized that it wasn't working at all as much as she wanted to, and she ran out of options, and she started this amazing quest of looking at all kinds of alternative medicine options from different cultures, and then with your awesome structural brain, which is part of your brilliance, they also went into placebo effect and other not techniques, like really scientific methods that are not the typical classical, right? And you found your own unique way. And so here you are, like totally ready to rock the boat of typical
Rock the boat, yeah.
Western medicine. Yes, that's so perfect. So I want to give the word to you to fill in any blanks about the introduction, and then say what people can expect this day, like in essence, and then what you're doing in this particular session.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, thank you, Astrid. This is great to be here. I'm all tropical, except, it gets cold on deck, so I'm I gotta wear something. Uh, so I am really excited to be here today. Astrid got it just about right. At some point, if there's questions, I can tell you a little bit more about my process as the day goes on. But really, at the core of what I want to share with everyone today is the power that you have inside yourself to change how your biology works. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a whole bunch of different ways over the course of today. This morning, we're going to start with a meditation. It's a small group here live right now, but this doesn't matter because this is a technique that you can use at any time in the future you want. It's available for you all the time. So, learn it now. You can do it again when you're ready. When you feel ready, get yourself comfortable. You don't have to be super grounded. This is going to be a little bit different. We're gonna do it together, and then I'll explain what we just did afterwards. Okay, better to experience first, but then understand. So I would like you close your eyes, get comfortable, and call to mind a time when you felt complete trust in another person. Not a time when someone relied on you. And this is not the same as loving someone and feeling responsible for them, or having complete trust of an animal or something like this. This is a time when you felt complete trust. And I'm going to give you the scenario that I always go to with this. When I was a young girl, I was very, very frightened of thunderstorms. They were miserable for me. I was like a scared dog. And it got to be the point where I was about 7, 8 years old, and I was way too old to be frightened by thunderstorms. I was on the beach with my whole extended family, aunts, uncle, cousins, staying in a series of beach houses that we'd rented right next to the water. And a thunderstorm came in, and at the beach in North Carolina, you can just watch the thunderstorm come in, and the island is very narrow. You can walk across it, and a big storm can come through. and clear out the island in a flash. My uncle sat me down in his lap as I started to get scared and just sat with me as we watched the thunderstorms come in over the ocean. The winds got crazy. The sky turned purple, then gray, then black. The clouds opened up. Rain, lightning, rattling thunder on this little beach cottage that wasn't very strong. The whole cottage shook. And I sat there in my uncle's lap and felt like nothing could harm me. And he sat with me the whole way through the storm, until the storm passed over the island and out into the sound on the other side. Now, somewhere you have a time like that, somewhere in the past. So take a moment now, or a few minutes now, and think about that time. Think about how you felt as someone was caring for you and you completely trusted that person to get you through whatever it was. As you do this, you'll probably find your breathing relaxing. You may exhale a little longer. And sink a little deeper into the chair or couch or cushion, wherever you're sitting. I'm going to give you about 3 minutes just to sit with this feeling. And as you sit with this feeling, I'm going to ask a series of questions to help give it a name and almost a face, a characteristic. So if you were to give one quick, maybe 2 quick words to describe it, what would they be? You don't have to say it aloud. Just think about those words. Where in your body do you feel this feeling the most? If the feeling has a color, it doesn't have to have a color. But if the feeling has a color, what is it? If the feeling has a shape, again, it doesn't have to have a shape. But if it does, what is that shape? If the feeling has a temperature, what is it? And if the feeling has a texture, how does it feel when you touch it? Take about a minute more to really hone in on that feeling. Not necessarily the circumstance, you can let that go, but hone in on that physical feeling in your body with a location, shape, color, temperature, texture. You might even give it a name, something that means something to you, like the warm blueberry feeling or something that means something personal to you. Take another few moments to really feel this solidly in your body. And when you feel ready, gently let that feeling fade away if you'd like, or you can keep it as strong as you'd like. And open your eyes gently. So this, first I'll ask, what did you experience with that? Was that something different that you've done before? And
Thank you, Elizabeth.
you're welcome.
Yeah, it was super magical. It's yes, it for me it sent me on a journey of all kinds of awareness, and it was interesting because my mind brought different experiences that were part of it, and it was kind of this whole carpet of moments, and I got so much awareness out of it. It was like because I had like childhood moments that I was like, oh yeah, I had a little bit of that, but there was no big scary thing around it. It was just like being tucked in bed, and then I like the first thing I thought of was like like I was like in 20s and I was doing the trust fall exercise, but then the guy actually let me fall. But it's funny because because the moment right before that, and I didn't get hurt. It was like I was so trusting that I was just like yeah, and then he wasn't ready. But so I had this carpet of pieces, and then it brought me to the present moment, where I'm like more spiritually aware and have like a deeper trust. And it actually that ended up being like the key element of like my partner tucking me in bed, and like so it was really beautiful carpet of and I got visuals also. It was like a star and then peace, like star of peace kind of
Oh,
thing.
yeah, yeah,
It was,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, felt really good.
And if you don't mind, I want to talk about the idea of trust and then the person dropped you and the trust fall.
Yeah, yeah, go
Yeah,
anywhere.
I think that's perfect example because when a lot of people do this exercise, and if you want to go back, those of you who are watching, if you want to go back and do this again in the future, just remember that the trust can happen, with a bad outcome, so to speak. Like you don't, a lot of people get really worried, well, I trusted this person, but then they let me down or they literally let me fall or something like that. And all you're trying to do is hone in on that feeling of trust and almost when you do this a few times, you detach yourself from that event and you get back to that star-shaped peace feeling
Mm-hmm.
that Astrid explained, because that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
The uncle that I described turned out to be a horrible alcoholic who drank himself to death, and like,
Aww.
but then that moment he was amazing, and I'm incredibly grateful for that
Mm.
feeling of trust. So let me explain what we just did from a biological standpoint. What we just did was we reset our nervous system and moved out of the stress, fight, or flight mode and into the what's called the parasympathetic mode, or the rest, restore, and repair mode. And that feeling of trust is what I work with it's the core of everything that I do. What people don't realize is the only time your body repairs itself is when your rest and restore and repair mode inside your body is functioning. So during a normal day, if you're feeling the opposite of a feeling close to whatever you got right now, your body is not functioning optimally. It's not replacing skin cells, it's not replacing immune system cells, it's not replacing your digestive cells, it's messing up your blood pressure, your blood flow, everything. That feeling of trust, however you get to it, is the key. And it's important. A lot of people would rather, this is a tricky thing. A lot of people would love to think about moments of joy and calm and peace. And those are helpful, but that deep feeling of trust that you're feeling now, your body interprets right now as, I trust myself. I've got this. And that's what you really need to turn on. Joy and happiness are good. Calm and peace are good. But that visceral, in your gut feeling of, I can relax because like I can relax. That's what it needs. That's unbelievably important to you. So that you can use this anytime. You're feeling flustered in the middle of the day. You want to help yourself get to sleep at night. You have anything you want. Once you've got that term that works for you, that star peace term, when you get good, you can say, I want that star peace feeling, or whatever it is for you. As I said, some people, the warm, squishy blueberry feeling, if that's what it is. You bring it like, okay, warm, squishy blueberry feeling, 2 or 3 breaths and you've got it back. It takes a little practice to go into it that fast, but when you do, your body's going to thank you, because your body can get a tremendous amount done in just a few minutes when it has that circumstance that works for it. So I questions, ask away.
I love it. I want to hear, like, Gabriella, do you want to share anything that came up for you? Are you more in listening mode? on this beautiful
Uh,
Saturday morning on deck.
it is. I realized through my experiences and life that trust is a big piece for me. In a way, to me, it seems like it's a foundation for love. If I don't have the trust, it's like love has no place to stand on. And I'm talking about that in terms of relationships. So I didn't expect to go into trust now. And I was a bit in a panic mode, like find a moment where I felt I was in trust,
Right.
And it took me to some moments with my former husband. And then it turned out the relationship didn't work out and we are where we are now. But it was hard to hold on to the feeling from a hug. That's what it felt to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just a simple hug, but that's so important. And then it took me back to when I was a kid and I would be scared when I would go to sleep for whatever reason that I would imagine. And I felt that I was just, I would imagine myself just on a big squishy pillow, hugging that, and it was so soft and warm and comfortable. So that's where that took me.
Yeah.
And it was a great experience, and trust is a very big piece. And once you reach that feeling, it's like everything goes like a sigh. The whole
Right.
body.
Exactly, exactly. And again, Gabrielle, you bring up a really good point that there are jerks that come into our lives. Like, I'm just going to say there are jerks, and there are jerks that we have long relationships with, but they bring us little gifts. They bring us something. So even if the person, like my uncle, alcoholic, drank himself to death, etc., he gave me this little moment, and maybe it's a point of me honoring him, or maybe that's what he was supposed to do in my life. So maybe that hug feeling that your ex-husband did, maybe that was his little gift. If you can take those out and then just compost the rest, which is hard to do. I'm going to be the first to admit it. It's hard to do, but look for the little gems that are there, because they're there for a reason.
That's true. That is very true. It's but even the fact that we're talking about this now is reminding me of how important it is to actually heal that piece, not only acknowledge its importance for me, the trust piece, but also really heal that and create more moments where I can explore and feel that.
Yeah. 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 And it all starts with you. I mean, because you just like I don't have to tell you this, preaching to the choir, but you have to, whatever you want to see in the world around you, you have to do for yourself and to yourself too. So it's good for your body. It's good for your heart. It's good for your, it's good for your metabolism, but it's also good for your soul.
Absolutely.
There's so many gems. I want to add something
Yes.
real quick on a parallel conversation to this, which is not directly what you're doing right now, Elizabeth, but this whole healing topic that just came up. So I find you gave everybody a really amazing access point to heal ourselves, not even just in this trust moment and in those gems of our life, but also when we're in that piece. And that's probably where you're going to be going during the day, I'm pretty sure, because it seems like it's your magic. I really feel that when we're feeling this, we can actually go back into painful situations with ex-hubbies and whatever the heck happened, and me in a trust fall and falling, which was not a bad experience. I was like, it didn't even hurt me because I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, what just happened? And he's like, oh my God. It was pretty funny. So, but that when we're in this space, feeling this from this meditation, this trust piece, that we can heal and gently expand that. And that's what I feel, that it holds magic, that we can see the deep um, the goodness in the people around us, the goodness in like that we didn't see when we're in the like, oh, in the painful mode. It's
Yes.
like we have a bigger access to the truth that's underneath, and to heal karmic things, to heal all kinds of things. That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, and that is true. There are ripple effects into everything that we have, um, and it might seem a little bit preposterous or a little impossible, but I used to have zero access to that feeling, none whatsoever, ever. And once I started to really, really work on that feeling, for me now is how I feel most of the time. And if I
Yes.
don't feel like that, I'm very aware of it. Like, wait, why am I doing something that's knocking me off course? Now, it took me 6 years to get to this point, 5 years. But it's how I feel all the time, and I feel it stronger and stronger over time. And you're right, other stuff has healed. Like, my relationships are better now that I have that trust that's sort of embedded in me. The trust is in me, and it's trust of myself, but it's also the feeling of trust. So all sorts of wonderful things happen around me as I work on that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love this the simple focus on the piece and then expanding it, and just simply keep coming back on that, the simplicity of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can instantly feel how good it feels, and
Yeah.
I can see the power of that, of simply coming back to this exercise, how much it can change your entire life.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yes, I love how we can build this from within, from bringing
Mhm.
back the feeling and then growing it, nurturing it like a flower,
Yeah.
finding this gem and then nurturing it and growing it from within, because it is an important piece. And I'm amazed by the synchronicity of this, because when the breakup happened with my ex-husband, it came at a time where I made a statement and I said, to somebody, it's like, you can say whatever you want about him, but I know I can always count on him. So that trust piece. And then right after that, I found out that that was not the case. And to me, losing that trust piece was like my whole castle collapsed and
Oh,
just
yeah.
like there was nothing. But there was so much healing, so much growth out of that, so much more authentic connection with and connecting with other people. But I never actually went back to reclaim that piece of trust that I felt I lost in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So through this experience, I really feel that I'm claiming that back. Like it's not lost just because of what happened. The trust is not lost, and not only that it's not lost, but I can nurture it and grow it, nurture it into growing more,
Yeah.
flourishing.
Yeah. Well, great. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing.
yeah, it's
Amazing.
amazing.
Good. Yeah. So what we'll talk about, just so you know, a little preview of what we're going to talk about later. Uh, the next thing I'm going to do in like an hour or a half an hour. When am I doing it? Or is it? I'm-
It's about 1.5 hours later.
Okay.
I'll share it later.
Yeah, that's
We'll
fine.
have a break.
Yeah, we're gonna have a little break, and what we're gonna talk about in the next session is we're gonna talk about um, thoughts that people who have how to think like a medical superhero, how to think like an extraordinary survivor, the people who overcome cancer. What do they do that's different? And it turns out that they think differently. And very frequently, it's all based on, when you go way, way back and you look, it's based on this feeling of trust in themselves. So I'm going to give you an idea of how
Wow.
this idea expands into what comes next. So
Sweet.
yeah, so I hope, if you can't join, that's fine. Watch later so you can really see some. And the cool thing is, I'm going to talk about the body because that's my area of expertise, but it's true. You can take these basic principles and turn it into your career. You can turn it into your relationships. You can turn it into, I'm going to be the best gardener or whatever it is. You can turn it into your hobby, your passion as well, with the same ideas.
Can you elaborate how you mean that it affects all the life areas? Is that what
Well,
you're meaning, or what do you mean
so
by this?
if you have, when you see what they are, let's say if you have a set of well, you'll see what they are, but it's sort of like have a the first principle is have a firm fixed belief that the body can heal itself. So let's say you're going to do your career or something like that, like have a firm fixed belief that you have the skills necessary to do whatever it is.
Yes,
So
yes.
you can just take whatever the same superhero set
The
of
pillars are.
mindset and just move it to something else if you want. But
Sweet.
it's always good to, but you got to have a place to start. And so
Yeah.
my place is the body. So that's where I start.
Yeah, I love it. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
So, so it sounds like you laid the ground for an amazing day, and that there's more depth to come.
Yeah.
And for the people who will catch this as a public replay, because I'm inspired to share this publicly, this powerful meditation, do you want to give a few more words in if they want more, like who like if it speaks to the people and they want more of this, like what can you do for people to take them further? A few words of like they come to you for what, like for personal healing, or do I know
Yeah.
you're gonna be a speaker and gonna do more public speaking and those
Yeah.
kinds of things, but go ahead.
Well, I work with people who are either they are concerned that stress is making them sick, if they're concerned about conditions that run in their family, like cancer or heart disease, and they want to not follow that, genetic destiny, which you don't have to. People who um, really want to, let me see if I can put this proper in a good way. People who realize that the conventional medical paradigm is not working and are really ready to make a leap to something very different. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'll be sharing my very, very different idea, but sort of a whole shift in the current medical system sees you, the patient, as a problem and being broken, and it's not true. And we're all going to make this leap of health when we realize that we are the cure. I'm the
Yeah.
cure, you're the cure.
Yeah.
And so how to use that power. If you're ready for that, I'm ready for you.
I love it. And what I heard you say in that is two pieces. It's like people who want to heal themselves, but also people who are ready for this bigger conversation and passionate about bringing it to the planet in a big way.
Yeah,
To reach out to you because you have this big vision of really making this shift and bringing this to a lot of people, and
right.
so that you are looking also for allies who want to team up and who want to bring you on
Absolutely.
stage or speak with you or these kinds of
Right.
things. I'm adding that
Because,
to.
yeah, because when a few people know this and they teach it to other people, we're going to see a real change in
Yeah,
just health in general. And
yeah,
I won't go into like circumstances at the moment because that's a little charged. The pandemic is a little of a charged topic, but world be a lot different if people had this basic framework that was
yeah. But it's a perfect time
yeah.
because we always have a choice, right? It's like you said, like, do you really want to claim this power? And are you curious? That's
Right.
all it takes.
Right. Right.
I'm like, yeah, or you're not. Okay.
If you're not, that's
Maybe that simple. Well, thank you so much, Elizabeth,
you're so
for this
welcome.
first session. It felt so powerful. I still feel the warmth in my body, and I feel this. I had one question that came up for me, actually, an inspiration that I got from, I think. it was from a hypnotist who worked also with stress disorder, and she was doing neurolinguistic programming. Do you also use techniques, or do you have an approach for that of like tying the experience also to a body gesture or something to lock it in quicker? Do you want to say something to that? Because
Yes,
I
yes. So
felt that's like a quick access points.
yeah. So I do a process called thought field therapy, which is like EFT, but it's the grandfather of EFT, the tapping process, which I use somewhat, and you can learn how to do that yourself as well. But I also use a process called psyche that a lot of people haven't heard of, but it's a way of changing subconscious beliefs with some movements and gestures that you do as
Sweet.
well. So yes, I
Ha!
have that movement piece. And
Ah,
those
exciting.
weird, slightly uncomfortable but not difficult movements kind of short circuit the brain and put new beliefs in.
You really create superheroes out of people. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, more to come. I am
Yeah.
sharing your information below the video on YouTube here. So anybody who wants to reach out to Dr. Elizabeth Hughes, you have all the information there. Share this along for people you feel are ready for to heal themselves and to claim their power. And if you want to hear more about me, my information is there too. I love to bring amazing people like Dr. Elizabeth Hughes and Gabriella. We all have superpowers. I love to bring amazing people together in inspiring, empowering, fun experiences that go deep and create a ripple effect on the planet through new connections and inspiration and magic and fun.
Yeah.
So there. Okay. I'll close
Thank
this
you.
call and yeah, we'll see you guys all later.
Thank you all for being
Thank
here.